Hello, everyone. You had to start laughing right when I started.
Sorry.
Well, this is the Smallford Podcast. Sorry, we just got the giggles. All right, we are here to finish off our last segment of the Heart of Betrayal reread. Chapters.
You started with the gummy bears.
Oh, jeez. Chapter 51 to the end of the book.
Yeah.
Let's just jump right in since
Sorry.
we've already screwed up our beginning. All right, so if you're still with us, chapter 51 basically is a huge reveal in that the Commissar reveals to Leah that this huge army that he's amassed. And in true villainous fashion, lays bare his entire plan for Leah, which is totally, like, really... that never makes sense to me.
No.
Let's add that to the list for next week's podcast.
Yeah, true that.
So, any thoughts on this chapter?
No, I had the same thing, like, why is he showing this to her? Like,
oh, also, I remember you and I had a conversation about this chapter, wherein we pretty much assumed that the author is trying to tell us that this is probably the reason that Venda is experiencing this mass hunger. Because they're not necessarily at a lack of food. I'm sorry, they're not experiencing a shortage of food, but he has been siphoning all of their food product and sending it to these men who are in this army that he's hiding away. So obviously this contributes to his intense need for control because he knows that he is causing not the downfall, but like the struggles of everyone in his country. So that was like a big shock to me the first time I read this because I didn't put the two together. That's really all the comments I have on 51.
Yeah.
52 is from Rafe's point of view. They are still in Benda at this point. And then Grizz reveals himself to Rafe and company. That was all really what I wrote down.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Caden knew the plan.
You mean Rafe?
No.
Oh.
Caden. If he knew their plan to escape in barrels and stuff. And I was also wondering, so we know Caden can either, well, he sees visions, but he seems to be able to hear. So how come he can hear Rafe and Leah, but not the Commissar? Like,
that's really strange.
Is it the selective hearing, or?
I'm not sure. That's a good point.
Or is it a fatal flaw?
Ooh.
No.
Oh, you're not suggesting that?
No.
All right.
I don't want to be rude.
Oh. I think this is where Sven like accidentally drops that they're not here for Leah, that they're just here for.
And I wasn't sure if he was lying about that.
I did too. I was like, is he kidding? What's going on there?
Because I believe they are there for her.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Right. Pretty sure Rafe made that pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Okay. 53. Leif? Sorry. Leah confronts the scholars in the catacombs.
Did you just do a name mesh?
I did. I did a celebrity name.
Yeah.
Leif. Ew. There's a lot of information dropped in this chapter. I felt like. Can we talk about the shoes comment? Remember I brought that up in the beginning of chapter 53?
Yeah.
What is that about? They changed everything but their shoes? Why is that relevant? I didn't get that.
I think that's just for Leah to figure out who they are. I don't know if it's relevant to us.
Well, no, I don't remember the author describing anything about shoes.
She probably did, but it's such an insignificant detail that we weren't paying attention.
Maybe.
She probably mentioned it and we just said, whatever.
Well, that hung me up. I was like, what is going on? So she finds her 10th year tutor, Argyris. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. So she's realizing that these scholars that are in the library are the elite inner circle trained by the royal scholar himself, and that they don't believe that what they're doing is traitorous because they have been sent by someone in Morrigan to go and help the Commissar. Shocking.
Yeah.
That's a big shock. So someone also says, But the spin of your greater betrayal to Morgan and marrying the Commissar may serve his purposes even better. Well done, Your Highness. His purposes? The Chancellor. He is the true one in charge.
But I thought the Chancellor was part of the Eye of the Realm, and that's where I was confused. Because the Eye of the Realm is the good guys, right?
Well, here's the thing. Now that I'm reading the last book in this series, I think Mary E. Pearson kind of wants you to believe that the Chancellor is in fact the ultimate evil guy, but there's too much leading to that. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't think. I know you finished the book, so I know you are sworn to secrecy.
I'm sworn to secrecy. Okay.
Yes. And I can tell in this book, because as we've discussed, Caden knows that his father was a Moragese royal, and I always assumed that it was the Chancellor. That may not be the case.
We find out who it is in this book.
That.
You find out who it is in this book. We'll talk about it.
Maybe
You missed it.
I got it in the third book. That's what I'm saying.
They said it in the second book.
Okay. Because I know it's definitely not the Chancellor.
No, it's not.
Okay. Anyway, then we will bring that up in a couple chapters.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else on 53.
No.
54, not a lot happened.
Well, she took a book.
Well, yeah.
And they don't really say
that's
what
right.
book that she took. But there she goes, taking stuff again.
Yep.
That's all I have.
54. We're marching on Morgan, Leah. We're removing those in power, and that includes my father. And yes, he may die. Who's saying this?
Who's talking?
So I'm trying to figure out. Caden?
Where are you?
I'm on page 400. Yeah, it's Caden. He promises that he won't let any harm come to Birdie, Pauline, and Gwyneth. Which is weird.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
yeah.
I didn't really get anything out of this interlude.
Neither did I. I have no notes.
Yep.
Let's just skip it. Chapter 55. She sees Venda again. Wait, does she? Yes. Well, she hears something that says she's coming, and then Aster shows up. Sometimes I'm not sure if she's seeing something or if she's just like having a remembrance of something in the past. So that kind of happens in the middle of page 404, which was cool. Aster reminds her that Venda is waiting outside. Not actual Venda, but the people of Venda. Yeah. They're waiting for another story. She throws in the use of the word remnant, and I thought that was interesting when she is asking Aster for I don't know, she's asking Aster for a favor. And I'm always interested to see how she drops that word in, because...
Well, I have in my notes, and it's been a while since I've read this, that I put, is this an omen of Aster's death?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm referring to when I put that, but... The hinges squealed with their own warning. The wall beyond was thick and low, just like any other in the sanctum. I won't fall, Aster, I promise. The beads on Aster's scarf jingled as she nodded, and then she raced out the door. Yeah, I don't know. There's something in there that made me think about that. Okay.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know. Her visions just increase with intensity in this chapter. Chapter 56. Caden's chapter. Commissar believes he's in control of Leah, but he is not.
I didn't have any notes.
They both just realize that Leah is not telling the stories of victories like the Commissar wants her to, and that's a problem for him. So, 57, back in Leah's point of view. Wait, I don't have... Rafe shares their escape plan with her. She sees Calantha.
You're on chapter 57?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I put in here that in our previous podcast, I was shocked that the Commodore didn't like strike her, and now he's starting to like physically hit her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think this is at this moment she is about to give up.
Right.
She's just like,
this wasn't the story I had written for myself.
Yeah.
Is what she says to her.
It was a little sad.
Yeah,
But
it was
she
very
fought,
sad.
and all of a sudden she was just like, you know what?
What did I do?
Yeah.
I made a note that says she ran from her bondage to find love and made her way back to where she started, just in a different country.
Yeah.
With more problems than she began. It's very sad. Leah tells Rafe, you're a terrible liar, and he says, and I used to be so good at it. And I think that's just the author being like, keep in mind, this is a series about deception. So yeah, Rafe tells her how they're going to get out. She can't believe it, but she decides to trust him. Chapter 58. I have absolutely no notes. If you have any, feel free to pop in.
I don't.
Okay. We have a song of Venda. Betrayed by her own, beaten and scorned, she will expose the wicked, for the dragon of many faces knows no boundaries. Betrayed by her own?
I think this is...
Wasn't she stolen?
No, I think this betrayed by her own has something to do with the monks and how they don't think that they're traitors. The Chancellor sent them there. So I think like the Chancellor is...
But what about during her time? Because Venda is currently not alive. Do you know what I mean? Like, what was that?
I'm thinking that she is singing...
Of the future?
Yeah. That's how I'm taking her songs.
Okay. Yeah, that's true, because she will expose the wicked. That's in future tense. Good point. I did not notice that. Caden reflects on his loyalties. He describes how he wanted to kill his father, but kind of has not. He hasn't. He notices that Governor O'Brien is too easy to sway, and he's suspicious, but not really in any cohesive way. Mm-hmm. And for now, he's playing the Commissar's game, but he's not convinced anymore that is what he needs to be doing. So that's a huge switch.
Yeah. Sets up the ending.
Yeah. Pauline is chapter 60, and this is when they reveal what will happen to Leah. So Pauline is like sickened at the thought. They're striking Leah's name from all records, which is probably what he's wanted to do for a long time. He is getting exactly what he wants. He declares her the enemy of the Kingdom of Morgan. And then she sees Michael, which is her baby daddy. Mm-hmm. She realizes that Leah lied to her, that Michael's alive, has not tried to find her.
And she had that vision. Remember in book 1, Leah had that vision of him with girls on his lap.
Yep.
And so it really was a vision and not a dream or anything.
Yep, that was a vision. Any more notes on that?
Yeah. Okay. So this is where we find out who Caden's dad is.
Okay.
Because on page 222...
Oh, we're going back.
He says...
222.
Where is it? In the middle, the new governor... No. Okay, so where it says his mother was beautiful.
Yeah.
His mother was beautiful, crystal blue eyes, black hair. So that's how his mother looks. And then his father, in the next paragraph, but suddenly his father's white blonde hair and brown eyes. So we know his father has white blonde hair.
Okay.
And in this chapter, we find out that the vice-regent has white blonde hair. So that's how you're... Mm-hmm. And if you don't catch it right away, you're like...
Well, right. And I definitely didn't. And I caught it again in book 3, because they do make sure that Mary makes sure you get that in book 3, which is when I got it.
Yeah.
Because he meets, or wait, who is it? It's Pauline. In one of the chapters of Pauline, she meets one of his brothers, his half-brothers. And so that's what that page said. She tutored him along with the Lord's sons, and I was like, oh, yeah. I didn't connect those two details at all. So don't feel bad if you didn't either. Yeah, okay. So that's a big chapter. Chapter 61. Caden admits that he's seen himself and Leah together in the future in their old age. Leah does not like this news. She is basically like, that is not what I have seen. But then she starts questioning if it's what she has not seen or if it's what she does not want to see.
Yeah.
I don't have any more notes on this.
All I know is that as I'm reading book 3, that is what I'm focusing on.
Right. Same here.
And there are certain instances where you're like, oh, this could be it. But maybe this could be it. But maybe it's this. So it's like driving me nuts.
I feel like for the first time in the series, Caden and Leah are actually having real conversations with each other. Like, they're not based off of lies and deceit anymore, which I think is going to kind of, well, I don't know. I don't know where it's going, but it's like it's going to bond them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any more notes on 62?
Or I just 61? Had Caden is having visions. Sorry, we're at work. We're live podcasting. I can't undo it. That he's having visions and voices.
I can't get it out. This is a disaster.
I'm sorry, guys. It is like summer reading club time, and for some reason, the teen department is the only department that knows anything.
Which is not true. Anyway, all right. Okay, let's get through these last couple chapters.
Yeah.
62. Komazar moves Leah into his room, which is a huge power move, by the way. Doesn't she see a vision of what's happening in Morrigan?
Where? What page?
442. The news had reached Morrigan. Their sons were gone. Weeping of my own mother, they knew. She sees this vision as she's about to give the prayer for the meal. So I thought that was pretty crazy. And then Caden calls her Ciara. And she's like, it was the first time he had ever called me that. What is that about?
I don't know. He knows the story.
Right.
So maybe when he was in Morrigan, he heard that story. And so...
Yeah. And then she tells him, I saw myself, Caden, here many years from now. And I wrote, lie? I mean... She said that, but she's like, I know he heard, I saw myself here with you, but that is not what she said. That's interesting to note. Anyway, I feel like I can't say anything because you know how the third book ends.
Yeah, I already know how it ends, so sorry.
Song of Venda. Her life will be sacrificed.
So that's the new piece of info.
Right.
And I remember the first time I read this, I was like, oh God, no.
I know. I was like, is this going to be a Divergent situation?
Yeah. So one thing that we've learned through authors' visits and everything, they say that when there are dual chapters, dual POVs, it is highly likely, not highly likely, but it is a possibility that one of the characters is going to die.
Yep.
If the story is written in one POV, first person, they're not going to die because then the story ends.
Right.
So because this is told with Caden and Wraith, she could most likely die.
Yep.
So that's where you're like, oh God.
Oh God.
She could totally kill off this character and
story would still go on.
Yeah.
Especially now that we know that Caden has the gift.
Yep.
Okay. 63. Shit goes down.
So she ended up taking the last copy. That's what she took, right?
Yeah. Wait, of what?
Song
of yeah.
She took it. Okay.
And I said that was my note. The war begins with the Song of Venda. And the Komazar,
Mary Pearson fashion.
I know.
All the shiz goes down in the last 50 pages.
One chapter.
And it is like that in the third book.
But it's so worth the wait. It's so worth it. I mean, there's so many details that lead up to this. It's just beautiful. So Leah basically gets up on that wall and lets it all out. And she's telling the story about the dragon with the many faces, and then she kind of finishes with this new information betrayed by her own. She changes it a little bit from the actual Song of Venda, but the Komazar is pissed. Aster somehow has made her way up to the middle of the terrace, and the Komazar is behind her with a knife. So he obviously kills her. This just ruins Leah.
The first time I read this book,
I was
when
very
Aster
sad.
was introduced, I already knew.
Oh,
I was like,
really?
oh, she's just setting her up to kill her.
I did.
So I am not going to get attached to Aster. I already knew it was going to happen, and it didn't make it any less painful. But I'm like, oh.
I was very sad. I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
And then she turns around on him and says, and now Venda has no Komazar either, and she kills him.
I love that.
Well, yes, great line. She says she feels the blood cutting through his flesh, ready to plunge it in again and again. She twists it for good measure. But we're still not sure if he's in fact dead.
Yeah, but what I like about this is that I don't like action movies, action TV shows, action books. I could care less about I hate long fight scenes. I don't care. So I like that it was just quick and easy. It's not like a 20 chapter battle. It's just, I'm going to stab you and that's it. So I really did appreciate that. But like you said, we don't know if he's dead or not. Well, I do because I read book 3.
Right. But I'm only like 100 pages into the last book, and everyone's speculating that he is probably not dead. Is that a spoiler? I don't really feel like it. No, okay. No. Caden kind of betrays the Komazar because he helps Leah escape. But he realizes a little too late that she's leaving with Prince Jackson. And that's Rafe, obviously. So, yeah. But Grizz announces her as Komazar, which is a weird twist.
Yeah, he just wants her to rule.
Yeah.
Well, why he wants
Because he believes in the prophecy, I think.
Okay.
I think he's a believer.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Grizz looked out at the cheering crowds. This is bigger than the council, he answered. Because Caden was like, do you know what the council will do to her? And so I'm like, what does Grizz know? What does Grizz know?
I don't know.
He knows something. So Leah escapes with Jeb and Rafe, and they jump into the river because they have to cross the river in a raft made of barrels, and that's how that ends. So Venda's in chaos. They don't have a ruler, as far as we know. We don't know who it is. Yeah.
Well, you're missing stuff now.
Oh well, I'm jumping here.
So Malik, he shoots her, and so in his eyes, he's now the Komazar because he's killed the person who's killed the Komazar.
Right.
So yeah, he wants to be the Komazar, which I thought that was an interesting cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And when she was shot, I was shocked, and then she went under with the heavy dress, and I was just like,
that did not shock me. I was like, obviously Malik has been wanting to kill her for a long time. I didn't really think that. No, I did know that he wanted to be in power, and then she thought about the dress. The second she put it on, she was like, "This river crossing is about to be a bad time with this dress." So all of this was.
I think I was holding my breath through the entire ending where she went down, and she did not come back up.
Yeah,
and I was just like, "Oh no!"
Yep.
Knowing what I know about the dual POV, she could totally kill her off, which I don't think she would do because there's a book 3,
right?
But she could have ended it with the cliffhanger of her down and not being dragged out, which I'm grateful that she did say. Well, she dragged her out of the river.
Yeah, so 64 is Rafe's point of view, and that's how the book ends. He is searching the riverbanks for her. He finds her. She is unconscious and losing a lot of blood. And so he says, hold on, Leah. Hold on for me. And it ends. Dun dun dun! So ends Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson.
So I have finished book 3. It took me a week. It was a very long book.
Yes.
And I enjoyed it. The only problem I had with it was the length. I think that there were parts of the book where it didn't need to be that long.
Sure.
So yeah, I would say it's about 35, 40 pages too long.
Really?
Yeah. There's just some things that didn't really advance the plot. I know she's tying up loose ends, and I appreciate that. But at some point I was just like, okay, let's move it. Because like the first 2 books, nothing really, not nothing, but nothing hits the fan. It hits the fan in the last 50 pages. Yeah. And that's how it is in the 3rd book too. Like it all goes down, the battle. And so I enjoyed the 3rd book. I'm happy the way it ended, and I'm curious to see what you think.
I am too. Did you give it a star rating?
I gave it a 4 and 4.75. And because I didn't give it a 5 is because of the length. I just thought there were a couple of things where I was just like,
interesting.
No, I guess
Okay.
I probably could bump it up to a 5.
Yeah, I feel like if the length is the only reason you're not giving it a 5,
There
that's
was
a little
one
arbitrary.
other thing. I can't remember what it was though.
Mm.
Oh yeah, there's another reason why,
Okay.
and you'll see when you read it. I'm not gonna say anything about it, but so if you have read the book, I do have a review of the book on my blog, bangbangbookblog.com, and I have a spoiler edition. So if you've read it, I say why I gave it a 4.75. But so we have enjoyed our reread of the Remnant Chronicles, and we went to go see Mary, and it's pronounced Morrigan,
which we were like, oh,
not
news.
Morrigan. We're like, oh,
no.
Sure.
Good to know.
Now that it's over, we've been saying it wrong this entire time.
And she's been super polite and not even corrected us. I was like, all right.
I'm pretty sure everyone says Morrigan.
I know.
So our next podcast, we will be back on track. There's been a lot of things going on at work, so we've kind of
been unable to podcast.
Yeah. But our next podcast will be August 25th at 1:00. We podcast live, and we will be talking about 10 things we hate about high fantasy. I'm going to do a countdown. So if there are some things that really bother you about high fantasy, join us for the next podcast. And thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Goodbye.